Sarah.
Jerry's and
Whatever he gets you.
Hi, how are you?
you're the man with the smile.
And the little book that I got, I researched in the city.
I can't wait. Thank you.
She asked me to show you. She was hearing you guys, Hu Yevarech, and it's supposed to come in like Kol Hakaho, Hakado. She said to hold this. She's saying that she heard Hu Yevarech, in other words, when the alto comes in here, well then maybe you're dead.
Chase you down.
Hey,
How are you?
okay. So that's all.
You did well. Yeah, I think so. Thank you. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet in person. Hopefully, I will soon.
Go get my mask.
Especially as with Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How good and how pleasant it is for everyone to be seated here together. If you could please find your seats as we sing the words attributed to King David. Please follow along with me as we sing together. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim 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 shevet achim gam yachad.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to our newly carpeted sanctuary. How beautiful does this look, huh? Amazing. Thank you to Debbie Lempert and the Abrams and Stu Botwinick for making this happen in time. It really looks amazing. And welcome to the kickoff for a weekend of celebration and farewell to our beloved rabbis, the Rabbis Feldman. During tonight's service, we will hear beautiful music, remarks from some really special people, and a real treat. The Feldmans will deliver the longest sermons of their careers. So get ready. I will actually offer my remarks, my personal remarks about the Feldmans on Sunday during our gala, which I am happy to report is sold out. So it's going to be really a terrific event. But I do want to say that the Feldmans are really amazing people. They are great friends and inspirational rabbis, and I and my family will truly miss them. We love you. We all love you. Now I will do the most important job of a temple president, is I'm going to thank people. So typically we leave the thank yous to the end, but we'd like to acknowledge some people who are very important to bringing us all here together today. We want to do it while you're awake and alert. So thank you to the coordinators of this entire farewell weekend, Sharon Epstein and Barbara Podwall. Thank you to the committee who organized this special service, Marge Cursius, Andy Aaron, and Elaine Springer. Tonight's music and prayer service were put together by Debbie Tartell and Shirenu, and of course together with our cantor, Adam Davis. Thank you. Look at that beautiful choir. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I would also like to acknowledge tonight's speakers, Rabbi Davidson, our Rabbi Emeritus. Thank you for coming, Rabbi. And you will hear from three of our past presidents, Nina Koppelman, Leslie Abrams, and Ron Epstein. I also like to acknowledge the committee that put together the tree dedication that we just had outside before, which was beautiful. Barbara Wexler, Gail Monasteer, Olga Kagan, and Melissa Slobin. I think I'm related to her. I'd also like to acknowledge the chairs of the Rabbinic Transition Committee, which really was a multifaceted and complex endeavor. It was not just a search committee. There's onboarding, offboarding committees, planning committees, and they really were the oversight for the entire process. And that's Ron Epstein and Jordana Levine. Thank you. And of course, nothing happens in this beautiful building without our staff, Stu Botwinick, Joy Polewski, Joy Allen, Freda Schilt, I'm sorry, Sherry Arbidol Jacoby. Thank you to all of you for all your hard work. And of course, the maintenance team. And after the service, we will have an oneg, and I want to thank the organizers of the oneg bakers. That would be Debbie Sutton, Dana Sobiecki, and Beth Schneider. Thank you. And thank you to all of you. Enjoy the service, and Shabbat Shalom.
We begin Kabbalat Shabbat on page 12. Oh, wait, before that, a beautiful introduction. Thank you, President Slobin. Let's have the Rabbi Feldman light the candles.
Why don't we rise? Let's rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat Shalom.
Did you hear that?
You may be seated as the Feldmans prepare to go forth. We hear from our friends, the beautiful community choir of Long Island, Shirenu, as they sing Lech Lemidbar. page 12. Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nekad mavana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmiro naria lo. Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. Top of page 13. Ya lai la lai lai, lai la lai lai, lai la lai lai, ya la la lai lai lai, ai la lai lai, ai la lai lai, la 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 lai lai, ya la lai ai lai, ai la lai lai, ai lai ai lai, ya lai la lai lai, lai la la lai, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, bachru miyom liyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nivrotav, ki gadol Adonai, uchulal meyor, norahu, al kol Elohim, ay lai lai, ki kol Elohim, amim elilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa, hod v'hadar, lefanav, oz v'tiferet, b'mikdasho, hadai la lai lai, hadai, hadai, hadai la lai lai. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. יירם הים, יירם הים, יירם הים ומלואו. 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 יעלו זרע וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער, לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים באמונתו.
Joining together on 15, if you have a Shabbat prayer book. There's some weekday ones floating around, so we're with you in spirit as you try to find the page. Top of 15. Adonai is sovereign, let the earth exult, and the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds are around God, righteousness and justice are the base of God's throne. O you who love Adonai, hate evil, God who guards the lives of God's loyal ones, saving them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name.
Page 18, Psalm 29.
Elilai, And now, Nina Koppelman.
Shabbat Shalom. Over the last year, we have prepared for Mayor and Tara's departure. Each of us has reflected on the impact that they have had on our lives and the gratitude we feel. I learned from many of you that it wasn't the big moments, it was the small moments that we will miss the most. Mayor and Tara, you have taught us by your example what it means to be a holy person and have touched our lives with your wisdom and kindness. Personally, I leave you with this poem about what you have taught me in those small moments, the ones that will stay in my heart forever. In the morning light, I hear a still voice, barely a whisper. Out of the darkness comes hope. The value of a life is measured in the small moments. Hearing a line of beautiful Hebraic prose, unbundling Hebrew roots, opening the mysteries of our ancient language, a Torah reading, lighting a spark of creativity. Mayor's hug imparting strength, Tara's eye-to-eye connection, a blessing requiring no words, offering support, illuminating a path to recovery. As the evening darkness descends, a still small voice reaches out in the evening solitude, a gentle whisper. The small moments remain in my heart, imparting the wisdom of ages. They live when you are no longer here and find their way into generations of still small voices in search of the morning light. My dear friends, as you begin your life in Israel, I end this reflection with Lila Berner's interpretation of the ancient priestly blessing found in this week's parasha, Naso. May the Shekinah, the holy presence that brings forth the female in the divine, spread her wings over you and protect you. May her light shine upon you with compassion, and may her countenance illumine your lives with wholeness and peace.
Thank you, Nina. We continue on page 20 as we welcome the Sabbath Queen, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishemianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem multiferet ve'litila Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri kiva orech kumi uri shir daveri kevod Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi
Let's rise.
v'shalom
Last paragraph.
עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי כלה לך דודי לקראת 22. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשר ועלי נבר, עלי היגיון בכינור, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. At the indented at the bottom, צדיק אתה אמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון ישגה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינהון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי, ולא עוולתה בו. And now, Leslie Abrams.
Shabbat Shalom. It all started in the lobby of the Inn at Great Neck, the room where it happened. In early 2009, after an exhausting 2-year search for a new senior rabbi to follow our beloved Rabbi Jerry Davidson, Temple Beth-El's search committee had agreed to interview a married couple for the position. I was in that room to meet the candidates and drive them to Temple for their interviews. I sat there watching everyone who crossed the lobby, hoping that each unappealing couple wasn't our candidates. Suddenly, an attractive, smiling couple emerged with a warm greeting, and I instantly connected. Mayor and Tara Feldman had, and still have, a special sparkle. After multiple interviews with the Feldmans, the search committee was bowled over as well. A few days later, back at the inn, in the room where it happened, the deal was sealed and Mayor and Tara were to become our next senior rabbis. In June, they moved in and I became president. This was a great honor for me. I was thrilled to have such warm, caring partners. That summer was a whirlwind. So many meetings, plans, meet and greets, and middle-of-the-night sweet texts from Tara. Mayor was always optimistic, a nonstop fount of ideas. Some of them were brilliant, and some... Mayor, one of your early requests was to build a new bema and pulpit in the chapel so that you could be closer to the congregation. That's you, Mayor, always wanting to be close, always reaching out, your irrepressible warmth usually ending in a hug. You quickly make a friend of everyone you meet, and that's truly a special gift. Tara, on the joyous day when we celebrated raising millions of dollars to meet the Litwin Challenge and rescue the temple, from Dad. You sent me gorgeous white flowers and a beautiful note. You always know the right thing to say and the right thing to do. You care deeply about others and making the world a better place. Thank you for being who you are. Frank and I feel a closeness to your whole family. We shared the losses of Bob and Vic, and of course, the recent loss of Dottie. But we also watched together as Gavi and Adina went from adorable young children to amazing young adults. And Mayor and Tara, you have shared in our family's joyous occasions. We treasure your friendship, and you'll always hold a special place in our hearts. And one last thing. Across the street from the train station in Great Neck, there's a bank, the M&T Bank. Well, our temple has its own M&T Bank, Mayor and Tara. You've given us interest, dividends, and riches beyond our wildest dreams, treasures which will last for many years. As you enter this new chapter in your lives, we wish you, Gavi and Adina, good health, contentment, and much joy. We won't say goodbye, but in Israeli fashion, lahitraot, till we meet again. We love you and we'll miss you.
I invite you to rise, either to your feet or in your heart, whichever is most comfortable as we respond to the call to prayer. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Are you listening to my prayer? Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Join with me on page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. Page 32. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot chokim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu u'v'komeinu nasiach b'chotecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nege yamam v'layla תורתך, אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. נא לשבת, you may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem, Amen. 39, join with me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, and that the winding way to that promise passes through the Midbar, the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Michamocha 40.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh. Join with us. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe uMiriam. Ze eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimlok le'olam ha'ed. V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov u'go'alo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Yerushalayim and yours.
Page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu shomreinu lechayim. V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Sukat shlomecha. V'takneinu beitza tova, tova milfanecha. V'hoshienu leman shemecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Eloheinu We continue on page 44, the Shomer. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Yes. And now, Ron Epstein.
Shabbat Shalom. That was quite a rousing B'Shamru. Once again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here in our newly refurbished sanctuary, seeing so many faces, familiar faces, faces that I haven't seen in quite some time, to share this bima with Cantor Davis and our musical accompaniment, Shai Kedmi, of course, the Feldmans, our dear Rabbi Davidson, and two wonderful past presidents, Nina Koppelman and Leslie Abrams. I almost feel like being president again. Almost. Truly, I'm honored to be here this evening to be asked to say a few words about our dear rabbis, Meir and Tara. And I can think of no better way than to express that through the words of Torah. It's been a huge part of the Rabbi Feldman's Rabbinic learning and teaching. So I'd like to impart some wisdom from this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha is Parashat Naso, and within it are three themes or moments that speak directly about my dear friends, the Rabbi Feldman. The first theme is that of service. In the Parsha, the roles of the Levites is mentioned with regard to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. For these 13 years here at our spiritual home of Beth-El, you, Meir and Tara, have served us. One of the most poignant aspects of my time as president was when I received an email from our clergy team each time we'd suffered the loss of someone in our community. It alters one's perspective to hear about congregants or relatives of congregants who have passed away, a parent, a sibling, a spouse, God forbid, a child. It afforded me a unique window into the profound pastoral care that our rabbis have provided. It is humbling to realize how often they would be called to sit at a bedside in a hospital, hospice, or living room, easing someone's final days. To witness the hours they spent with the family before the funeral, collecting life stories and cherished memories, helping talk through the sadness and often shock of bereavement. Theirs has been a sacred assignment, which they have met with unfailing sensitivity, attentiveness, and grace. In our darkest of times, they have been there to lift us when we were unable to do so for ourselves. And just as our rabbis were there to tend to our pain, they were equally there to enhance our celebrations. They were makers of memory, creating moments that became the most indelible snapshots of our lives. Indeed, the nursery school toddlers blessing their first challah, the B'nai Mitzvah proudly chanting Torah on the bima, the confirmation teenagers standing proudly in their white robes, the wedding couple under a beautiful chuppah, the conversion ceremonies where our rabbis welcomed new Jews, and the baby namings welcoming new life. Mayor and Tara, you have served us in times of sorrow and in times of joy, and you will always have a place here in our house of meeting. The second theme is that of gratitude. In this week's Parsha, there is discussion of sacred gifts and offerings. Perhaps one of the most sacred gifts in our culture is our ability to, as a people, to feel and to express gratitude. It's part of our spiritual DNA. Nearly every prayer we recite begins with the words, Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, Lord our God. This is, of course, our communal expression of gratitude to God for the blessings that have been bestowed upon us. Well, the Feldmans have bestowed blessings on us as a community. May you, dear Tara and Mayor and Tara, accept our gratitude for all that you have done for our community. The third theme is blessings or protection. In the Parsha, God gives Moses and Aaron the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing. In your time here at Temple Beth-El, you have allowed us to be blessed through friendship, through spirituality, through learning, and through community. So, my dear friends, once again, I'd like to offer you the priestly blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May God bless you with all good and keep you from all evil. May God enlighten your heart with immortal wisdom and grace you with eternal knowledge. And may you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. We will miss you, Mayor and Tara, but you will always be close in our hearts. And, Zoom is a pretty easy thing to get on. And I have a great place to stay when I go to Israel now, so I'm looking forward to that. We love you.
As we turn to page 46, I invite you to rise in your hearts or to your feet, whichever is most comfortable, for Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 50. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia, morid ha'atal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukeroshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We take a few moments for private meditation using the words provided in the Siddur or using the language of your heart. Feel free to continue praying at your own pace, or you can join me at the bottom of page 62 for prayer for peace. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'emeru amen. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, amen, amen. Say shalom, shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen, ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Words of shalom, of wholeness on our lips, we turn to page 253 as we pray for the wholeness of those who are ill in our midst, those who are suffering in body and in spirit. And as we turn to page 253, we invite our friends from Shirenu to rise and lead us in Mishaberach.
Misheberach avotenu, Misheberach imutenu, Hu yivarech et kol hagal hakadosh hazeh. Misheberach
How wonderful to have the prayers of our community buoyed on the voices of such angels and members of our community featured on that beautiful prayer. Mayor, Tara.
So, 13 years is super, super long time. Try 40. It's so humbling to think about what that means to serve a community for that many decades. Rabbi Davidson, what an honor to have you here. Even if you hadn't battled 3 hours of traffic, we would still be impressed. But we're extra, you get extra points. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your erudition, for your amazing self-effacing sense of humor, for your profound humanity. One day, maybe Rabbi Stoller is going to say to us, wow, you're just the best kind of emeritus. Where did you learn how to do that? We'll say, only from the best, from the very best.
I want to just make two quick thoughts. Debbie, I don't know where you are, Tartel, there you are. I'm guessing it wasn't an accident. I feel very emotional that you've brought Benji Schiller here. And she was with us 2 years ago, I think. And Misha Berach Avotenu connects us to Benji, but as Tara just said, Rabbi Davidson connects us to you, because you have blessed so many of our fathers and mothers from Temple Beth-El. And it's humbling and it's inspiring, and it's just this sense of wonder. Wow, to be close to you, to sit in these seats next to you. I want to tell you two things. First of all, when Rabbi Davidson arrived, I said, Rabbi, it's important that you sit here. He says, no, it's not appropriate, because it's your seat. The other thing I was thinking is that when we knew he was coming, I said to Tara, I'm really going to be annoyed because he's going to say something really funny as he begins. And you all know how much I yearn, I wish, I prayed that I could be funny. Last thing I want to say is that today happens to be the 55th anniversary of June 10th, 1967, which was the day that the Six-Day War concluded. And I'm guessing, Rabbi Davidson, that was a Saturday, this is a Friday night, but I'm guessing that this room was very full. I actually had intended to ask him this question before this moment, but I'm guessing this room was very full on the day that it was very clear to the world that Israel had prevailed and unified Jerusalem. It was like the world was created in 6 days, really a biblical moment. Anyway, Rabbi Davidson, it is such an honor and a blessing, a source of privilege, pride, that ask you to come up and share your message.
Thank you, Tara and Mayor, for those very beautiful words. My recollection, actually, of this sanctuary and this pulpit and the Six-Day War were that I was in the middle of something important that I was saying, and up came one of your past presidents, Frank Abrams, who was not a past president, and kind of pushed me aside, and I said to myself, he's never going to be anything, and who is this guy? And announced that the war had begun. At least I think I've got the memory straight, and of course I love Frank and Leslie and all the past presidents, as a matter of fact, which is a comment that I'll make in a few moments. But the life of this congregation across the decades, and certainly into the many years that Tara and Meir served as your wonderful spiritual leaders, brought into focus so many important Jewish and secular events that involved us all. And this place was and continues to be a place where we find meaning and hope, and particularly when our leadership is as effective and understanding as Rabbis Feldman are and always will be wherever they find themselves and with whomever they work and share their lives. But I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to be part of this historic Shabbat. I'm having a little trouble reading what I wrote because I lost my glasses a couple of days ago, which is not so good, but I have on my old glasses from which I cannot see, through which I cannot see very well. But at least in my sight are all the people in all the years, many of whom are in my heart in memory, some of whom I bump into on the street in Manhattan, 3 or 4 families of which in our small apartment building live, and so I always feel a part of this congregation, its past, and through the Feldmans, its present. And it was an honor to receive the invitation from them to be here. And I know that the words that the prayers reflect and the music, the beautiful music which your cantor and which the Shirenu choir lifted our hearts with tonight, and especially the comments of Nina and Leslie and Ron, were very moving and captured exactly the memories and understanding that I have of the leadership that the Feldmans have brought to you. I think it was very appropriate that this Shabbat began with the planting of a tree in their honor. A tree in Judaism is, of course, a symbol of our faith, of the Torah itself, and of life as well. Eitz Chaim. It is truly a tree of life that you have planted in the soil on which Beth-El stands in their honor. It represents growth, promise, and the future for the generations to come. I hesitate to actually mention it, but when I retired from this pulpit, given in my honor was a bench. I was actually very, very proud of it. And that is until one day, shortly after the ceremony, a young girl in our religious school ran up to me excitedly and exclaimed, "Rabbi, guess what? I just sat in your memorial bench." So I can tell you this, the Feldman tree is not a memorial, of course, but will be an ongoing source of inspiration, encouragement, and a metaphor of what Meir and Tara wanted their rabbinate here to fulfill, the vision and goals which they came to understand, which this synagogue's founders and past leaders had labored to achieve. Indeed, Tara and Meir's dreams caused Beth-El to flourish through their skilled and uplifting leadership. Surely my predecessor and mentor, Rabbi Jacob Philip Rudin, and the many associate rabbis and cantors and educators and lay leaders of the past would join me in extending our gratitude to the Feldmans for nurturing our own aspirations for the temple and bringing them into the years far beyond our service here, along with the Feldmans' own keen vision for this synagogue. That's what their tree will always mean to me, and I know to you as well. Your temple presidents and the many current leaders who prepared this festive weekend have expressed in so many different ways in the materials that I've read and what I've heard, so movingly how much you love them and how deeply Rabbi Feldman have loved you and I'm sure always will. Their labors have sustained the vitality of Beth-El with programs, projects, and activities that reflect creativity, diversity, and great contemporary relevance. And all this when the challenges have been enormous, as all of us are aware. These obstacles alone might have snuffed out the very life of the synagogue, but they didn't. Together with wonderful fellow clergy and with the wonderful cantor whose music thrills me and whose spirit uplifts me, along with the amazing staff directed by Stu Botwinick and a devoted lay leadership represented by Gary Slobin, who has magnificently taken over the leadership from the temple presidents of the past, especially Ron, who always, these presidents always supported and partnered with Beth-El's rabbis, which is a secret, I think, to a harmonious synagogue's lay and rabbinic and clergy leadership as a team. And the light of this temple never, ever went out. Not during the pandemic, which might have all but shut down this vital institution, not when the demographic changes in the community seriously diminished the potential membership pool, not even with the financial challenges that seemed to prove unceasing. As a matter of fact, this was the first time I heard Ron speak in which he did not conclude with an appeal. And I thought that was really terrific. And I'm sure that Gary has learned from him. And together, this strong team kept alive Beth-El's spirit, even in a world that in these treacherous times has become such a frightening wilderness through which the Feldmans and this tireless partnership were able to guide their people, uphold its spirit, comfort its fears, and find strength in the light of Judaism's wisdom while facing a darkening horizon. Horrific challenges face them and face every synagogue and every religious institution. But the rabbis help the congregation to face, to understand, and respond to these challenges which continue. Israel's turmoil while confronting Middle East terrorism, the horror of ubiquitous gunfire in our nation's schools, streets, and public places, a vile upsurge in anti-Semitism and racism of all kinds, an embrace of replacement theory, challenging the Jewish commitment to a pluralistic nation that we have always loved as Jews, an insurrection so violent, so terrifying, attacks on democracy, increasing fascistic attitudes, all challenging the sacred beliefs and commitments of American Jewry. And through all this, your rabbis never allowed this congregation and their children to forget our people's sustaining values and dreams. With their leadership in worship, Torah study, social justice programming, the vital, robust, inspiring identity of Beth-El never faltered. And they reached out to help you sustain your inner strength too. That I know, and that's been reflected in what Nina and Leslie and Ron said. When you felt lost, bearing great hurts in your hearts, feeling isolated and alone, when you couldn't see a tomorrow, their doors were always open, as were their hearts. They listened, helped you find your strength again, and were always, always ready with a hug. I noticed on some of the temple's printed and online material, and I saw it for the first time hanging there between the Israeli and the American flags, a slogan that I'd never heard before. If you turn your head around upside down, you may be able to read it. Inspire through purpose, be known by love. How very compelling those words, and how appropriate for a time to honor Tara and Mayor, because that's who they are. But how did they do it? How did they have the strength somehow to pull all this in the outer world and in the inner world together with such a blessed effect? The answer is in the Torah portion, naso, to which Ron referred before. And we did read, as he pointed out, something of the task of the Levites. As our ancestors traveled through the wilderness, in this text, we read of how they had the responsibility of moving from one spot to another as they journeyed across those many, many years, and they brought the tabernacle, their place of worship, with them. But how did they do it? It meant taking it apart. It meant carrying it. According to the Bible, it was quite a project. So Moses ordered that the families of the Levites be in charge of that porterage. And he assigned one clan within that tribe to move what was within the tabernacle, the furnishings, all of them. And he gave them 2 carts and 4 oxen with which to make that move. To another family, he assigned the construction materials, the posts, the poles, the bars, and more, and gave them 4 carts and 8 oxen to move them. But to a third family of the Levi tribe, Moses gave no carts and no oxen. The task was to move what was most sacred of all, the Holy Ark, which contained, according to tradition, the tablets of the 10 Commandments and the shattered tablets of the first set of 10 Commandments. And Moses simply said to them, "By shoulder they shall carry it." What was most holy had to be borne personally. Rabbis Meir and Tara Feldman led this congregation through the wilderness of our time. Their leadership was deeply personal. With the fullness of their hearts, minds, and physical strength, they led you. They bore your burdens. They helped you carry what is to each of us most sacred, your faith, your love of family and of one another, and your trust that there will be better times ahead. Even as Meir and Tara's tree shall surely grow and flourish in Beth-El's soil, and with you standing by to see that that tree is nurtured. The temple shall always be nourished by the years, the blessed years that they gave to all of us. And we thank God for the blessing of their leadership, of their smiles, of their wisdom, and of their strength. Amen.
As we turn to page 282, we rise for Aleinu. At the bottom of the page, Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים
So many amazing messages and words. Thank you 100 times over. Yeah.
Somebody get some water.
It's all right. I'll be done before you. Maybe 50 years ago or so, I remember an argument between my parents. It was about feminism, equality, chauvinism. Maybe it was 1970 or so. My dad wasn't a terribly liberated human being at that time. My mom, though, she deeply resented, and said so in our home, the sexism of the world. And they had an argument, I remember, over an expression, and this is the expression, the saying, "No man is an island." My mom would be like, "No man? Why no man?" And my dad, and maybe my uncle as well, responded with, "What do you suggest? No woman is an island?" As if, "Dottie, do you have no appreciation, no regard for the power of poetry?" Of course, my mom was a student and lover of poetry. That my mom and dad are no longer with us, that I can't share the ongoing play-by-play of this moment in my life, in our lives, is very sad for me. I think they're smiling. I hope that they're smiling down as they've opened up their Sky TV, or whatever the cable network in the skies is. And why do I start with this? It's not only because I wish my parents were still with us here physically, or with us virtually, like my beloved in-laws. Hello, Grandma Judith, and Grandma Sue, and where's the camera? And Grandpa Mull, I love you. I start with this dispute between my parents because I want to share with you two reflections about these past 13 years. First is my one and only disappointment, and second, my greatest satisfaction. And I think that no man is an island relates to both. My most significant disappointment from the last 13 years is that we haven't mastered the art of talking about the biggest things. Donald Trump and Barack Obama, reform and orthodox, anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, other kinds of hate, climate change, vaccines, masks. This past bunch of years has been filled with so much acrimony and bitterness. I had a vision a few years back that if synagogues became a place where congregants could speak about our hardest issues, we, synagogues, could make a profound contribution to our community and country. I don't think we achieved that, and that's my disappointment. My greatest satisfaction is the incredibly personal connection, the friendship, the love, the admiration that I feel towards so many hundreds. We've shared so many moments of kindness and goodness and curiosity and partnership. Together we've celebrated simchas and successes, and together we've mourned many losses. I feel so much love, and I feel oh so very loved. Let me be clear, for me this is not goodbye. Baruch Hashem will be in touch many times in the coming years, months and years, but this is a profound landmark in time. It's a moment to take stock, to acknowledge the depths we dwelled in together and the heights we've ascended together. My dad often said that when he was young, the rabbi was the most educated person in the room. And I think that was true. And then he'd add, but not anymore. And my mom, the lifelong teacher, often said, there's the teacher and the student, and often the teacher has the most to learn. And so yes, as your rabbis, I've been the teacher, the giver, the guide, the mentor, scholar, expert. But we also are the students, the mentee, the listener, the receiver. In Hebrew, the three-letter root, lamed, mem, daled, is the root for both teacher and student. In a few minutes, we'll offer Kaddish together. I will never, ever forget or adequately thank you, my Beth-El family, for all of the care you have showered upon me. No, I'm not talking about my sermons that you didn't understand, or maybe that I didn't understand either. Rather, I'm speaking very directly about your love and your friendship after my dad passed in February 2010, and after my mom's passing just over 3 months ago. And oh right, those unbelievable weeks before and after my heart surgery, about 15, 16 months ago. Your meals and messages and visits, they truly nursed me back to life. These words are so inadequate for expressing my gratitude and honestly my sense of wonder. How could so many people be so extraordinarily generous to me with your time, energy, resources, and affection? And so let me close. Let me return to quote, "No man is an island." I love these moments when, after I start an idea, I discover something entirely unexpected. I'm now clear, actually, why my mom and dad had that argument 50 plus years ago. It was actually for me, for this moment, because it's just true. I could never have done this without you, Tara. I'm so not an island. Being apart from you for most of the last 20 months was close to torture. We probably are a combination of land and water. That's sort of an inside thing that any of you are welcome to. But I'm not an island. I'm ready now, and we all are, for you to retake the steering wheel, to set this ship on its proper course, to bring us to a place of landing, to our harbor.
I always have the steering wheel. We know that. Just for all of you that have come out, you can see everything from this space, and your faces, every single one of you, will fill my heart for days and weeks and months and years to come. Thank you for making the time to be here for what you knew would be a long service, but I promise it's coming to the end. I will frame my reflections around Birkat HaKohanim, the priestly benediction found in this week's Parsha, as you have already learned. May God bless you and keep you. You know the words. May God's face smile upon you and be gracious to you. May God turn to you and give you peace. In 1979, an excavation in southern Jerusalem unearthed 2 tiny, tiny silver scrolls, which are now considered to be among the most significant biblical archaeological discoveries ever made. The scrolls date back 2,600 years. We don't even have hard evidence of a written Torah back that far. But even so, these silver amulets, so tiny, each one smaller than a quarter, they contain a very early ancient version of Birkat Kohanim. So why conclude this evening with details about an archaeological find? Is it because we Feldmans are Jerusalem bound, off to that dusty city of so many ancient finds? Maybe. But even more important, I offer the image of those tiny, millennia-old silver scrolls as a reminder that even after the most poignant farewell, we are bound together, part of an ancient narrative that stretches back in time, longer and farther than any of us can imagine, and one that reaches into the future as well. An ever-unfolding story. At so many sacred moments, it is the priestly benediction which provides the script, the words for us rabbis, for us clergy, for all that we want to express. And this evening is so no different. This bracha encapsulates so many of my emotions. It's, of course, a table blessing, a Friday night blessing that parents give their children. And you have helped us to raise our own. So incredibly, it seems they have completely flown the nest. And we are here because of the vision and devotion and love of our parents. Mine now watching from Boston and Halifax. It's a 3-line bracha, so I'm going to give you 3 reasons why it matters tonight. Number 1, the priestly benediction grows. First only 3 words, then the next line is 5, and then 7. In this way, Birkat HaKohanim expands steadily to a place of overflowing blessing. That is certainly how we feel at this moment, as the power and abundance of our years here at Temple Beth-El just come flooding back. What a journey it has been. Our lives will forever be defined by what we have experienced here with you, both within these walls and beyond them. To find, to be chosen by, to work and to grow with a community such as this, that is the dream of our life. A dream you enabled us to live into and to experience. And the fullness of our years together, the blessing of all of that is unquantifiable. From 3 to 5 to 7 and on to infinity. So number 1, abundance. Number 2, in its most traditional form, the priest offers Birkat HaKohanim with the face covered, shoes removed from his feet, calling to mind humility and mystery. It is taught that the shin, formed by the hands of the priest, as he offers that benediction, that Hebrew letter, it is like the lattice work through which the lover peers in Song of Songs. Thus, the priestly benediction reminds us that the face of the divine, it's never entirely revealed to us. Rather, God is at once hidden and ever present, working through us. You have let us stand barefoot on the sacred ground of your lives. You have taught us about holiness, letting us glimpse the divine, even for just a few moments. And the face of the divine has been yours. As we turn to this moment of departure, we acknowledge the mystery. What will be our legacy? What is our actual impact? That will be revealed only as we all live our way into the next chapter. So abundance, mystery, and number 3. Judaism guides us to say brachot before every single sacred act. And it even connects brachot to moments that might not seem so sacred. No matter what, Judaism has a blessing for each and every moment. And it turns out there is a prescribed blessing that the priest is supposed to say before he does Birkat HaKohanim. It goes like this: Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe. Asher kitshanu b'kedushato shel Aharon, who sanctifies us with the sanctity of Aaron. V'tzivanu levarech et amo Yisrael be'ahava, who commands us to bless the people Israel with love. In all of Jewish tradition, there is no other pre-action blessing that mentions love. But here, it is required. I'll tell you a secret. It's not our paper-framed smicha, our rabbinic ordination paper from HUC, that makes us rabbis. It's your love. Love is the agent, the medium, the power of the priestly benediction. We may be inspired through purpose, but we are known by love. And Mayor, and I want to thank you for yours, for allowing us to take your hand, for trusting us to walk with you on the journey, even just for a little while. Your love has enabled us to dream, to falter, to stumble, to build, to grow. And as the tree outside our Temple Beth-El entryway takes root and stretches towards the heavens, we imagine you embracing and growing close to a wonderful, wonderful new rabbi, Brian Stoller. And we have no doubt that you as a community like that tree will grow and flourish as well. So taking the lead from that ever-growing tree, we invite you and the leaders and teachers who grace this bima to rise, and everyone here, if you're able, to rise, even at home, in body or in spirit, as we bestow upon you this evening a prayer ancient and eternal, a prayer of abundant mystery, and above all, a blessing of love. And if you're not keeping social distance and want to grab someone next to you, feel free. If not, we're with you.
And once the blessing is given, we respond, Kain Yehi Ratzon. May it be your will.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Kain Yehi Ratzon.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
Kain Yehi Ratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Kain Yehi Ratzon.
You can be seated. As always, we remember loved ones. Mourner's Kaddish. If you hear the name of a loved one, please feel free to rise. Sorry. We remember Elaine Harris, not quite buried yet. We remember with love Stephen Howard, laid to rest this past week. In the period of Shloshim, remember Florence Epstein, Isidore Sonny Landsberg, Lois Pergament, Marcia Rosen, Stephen Sanders, and as well Dale Joy Pollock. We remember the Ortsite, the anniversary of the passing of Pearl Biegelman, Harold Cohn, David Greenewalt, Benjamin Halpert, Jack Hirschberg, Shirley Lulov, Harry Markowitz, Mel Oberlander, and Stephen Rubin, Karen Penner, Barry Schneider, and Edward Strime. I add my mother, Dorothy Feldman. Are there other names, loved ones we're remembering? If so, please feel free. Feel free to rise and share their name. I want to add the last two names as well. Samuel Arthur Epstein and Gussie Epstein. Who other? Anyone else? If it's your custom to rise with the mourners, feel free to do so. We're on page 294. 294. Yikadav, Yikadash, Shemerabah.
Amen.
Bialma tivrach rute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael. V'agalav izman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabba Vorach Ve'elam Olamei Almaya.
Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, V'yit'aleh, V'yit'alal, Shemei D'Kudashah,
Brechu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yalma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, and let us say one last time.
Amen.
You may be seated. Yeah, give yourself a break. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishana b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'v'ratzon inchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim.
Anu v'chatav yotaru gidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava u'v'ratzon inchatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh
Hashavat lechayim.
Delicious. How'd you know it was grape juice? All right. Well,
Oh, beautiful. We have some amazing chalot. I don't know if this is a Gloria, but there's been a lot of bakers. Thank you all.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam,
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Thank you, Cantor, for an incredibly beautiful service. Shirenu, you have lifted us. There are so many thank yous to offer, and we are going to conclude with.
We're going to conclude with Shirenu singing One Day. I
this-
think
No.
no?
Yes, no?
Yes? I thought so.
The song One Day talks about making the world a better place. And Rabbis Tara and Mayor, you've made our community a better place. On behalf of the Shirenu Choir of Long Island, we wish you well, and we will miss you. And maybe one day, God willing, I'll bring my choir to Eretz Yisrael and sing for you there. So-
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you.
Feel free to take a seat.
Stand up. Join them.
This day, today.
Shabbat
today.
Shalom. See you up on the rooting garden for a wonderful
Shireno,
owning.
that was amazing.
Talk
Thank
to us
you.
there. Don't come up here. Go up there. We'll meet you up there.